Okay, good afternoon. I was a bit desperate to add items to talk about this afternoon. It wasn't really too much other than the coaching video to go through, but I've got some milestones, quite a few milestones. Um, there were four boundaries that made their debut in men's Divi 1 last weekend. I think a few of the regulars are away, so Andrew gave a few of them a go, which is good to see. So Cameron Goulding, Elijah Rogers, Aidan Ryan, and Crosby Simmons. This week, Stuart Hood's doing his first men's Divi 1 game in the goals. So well done to all you guys. 50th game this week, Tyson Usher in the field and Marge Rashid in the goals. 100th game to Josh Greenwood in the field. And 300 game, I missed him last weekend, but Dale Clark has got his 300 games up. So well done to all you guys. So yeah, I wanted to add something to the coaching notes. The only thing I would think of that I haven't mentioned lately is especially for the new umpires in the panel, there is a Adelaide Footy League umpires Facebook page that we have up and running, and we do have a few posts every now and then, fairly lighthearted. It's a good way to share some things going on. If you want, it's a private group. So if you do want to be a part of it, you need a current member to be a friend of yours and them to invite you onto it. So if you're not a part of it, get in touch and we'll make sure that you find a way to join. I'll get maybe a few new Facebook friends from it all, but it'd be good to get some of the newbies a part of it. So reach out if you want to be involved in that. So that's all I could think of is all I really wanted to mention to the group today. Has anyone got any questions from the weekend's footy before we hit the coaching video? Frank, you've unmuted yourself. Is there a reason for that?
Sorry, Cole.
No, it's all good. No one wants to ask anything or bring anything up? Okay, quiet weekend. Let's get the coaching video happen. We'll get some discussion points out of this. I know that. All right. So, well, Michael, have you unmute yourself? Or Tripper? Have you had a chance to watch the video, mate? You need to unmute yourself.
There you go. Yeah, I've had a look at it today.
Cool. You got the easy one first up.
Yeah, I think I have, which is good.
Yeah. Tell us what you make of the first example here.
Man, that was painted steps. Big ruckman trying to get down.
Oh, yes, this one. Yeah.
Goes out of bounds now, and they're trying to argue and come off.
Okay, what'd you make of that?
That's going to be a throw-in, as it wasn't intentional. It wasn't actually kicking action. He just tripped over the ball more than anything. So
spot on.
Something like that, I'd throw it in.
Yeah, 100%. So it's just there as a reminder that the last possession rule is for a clear kick or handball, and that was definitely an accidental kick.
I had one actually. We had one very similar. Me and Simon on Saturday, but the difference was there was a throw-in from the boundary, and the ruckman stuck his foot out to try and, get the ball, and went out of bounds. So it was like a kicking motion. So we did pay that one.
That's fine. That's fine if it's a deliberate kick. No problem at all. Also, a thing that concerns me slightly here with this is, I noticed this for the first time watching it just then. What are these people doing so close to the boundary line? I'd be getting them to move. Whatever they're doing, they should be further back than that or behind the fence. But anyway, that's by the by. I have asked umpires at Henley Oval lately to be conscious of the fact that there's a few Henley spectators that like to set up inside the fence on the eastern side of the ground. So it seems to happen every home game. And yeah, just get the matchday official to move them. There's a fence there for a reason. It's a league expectation that spectators behind the fence. Some grounds are easier than others to manage that on, but just keep that in mind. It's part of our duty to ensure spectator safety, even if they don't want to be safe themselves. I've certainly seen over the years a few babies sitting 2 meters inside the band or outside the boundary line, which is ridiculous. But yeah, we just, it's part of our job to ensure that that's addressed if it's an issue. All right. Paul Smith, you've got the one I'm probably going to spend a fair bit of time on. Can you unmute yourself, mate? No, you're not there.
There we go. Yep.
Have you had a chance to have a look at the video?
I did, yes.
All right, cool. Take me through your thoughts on this one.
Another throw up, little bit of a bump there, shepherd out off the ball. I saw it, so Galbraith can take it.
All right, what'd you make of all that?
If that's later in the game and the players have been, there's been a bit of contact and holding going on and there's a bit in it, then I'd be very inclined to pay a free kick. It looked like a pretty gentle bump and he went to ground very easily. So if it was the first time you'd noticed it, I'd maybe give a warning.
Yep. Don't mind that explanation at all. Has anyone else got anything to contribute? It's a really, really good one to discuss.
Hey, Colt, Mick, I agree. I think it was pretty soft, in the sense he went down. I would just stopped and waited for him to get up and bounce and throw the ball up personally. I thought he went to ground a little bit too easy in that instance.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. Anyone else want to add anything to it?
I'll have a look at this one. I really forensically looked at this one because I thought, no way is this a free kick. But I looked at it, I slowed it right down, and I reckon the umpire's just seen the end of it, and I reckon he might have just seen the arm come up because the guy actually from the bump after the arm goes up, so I reckon he might have just caught the very end of it, and he's guessed, which I wouldn't have done. But yeah, it's not a free kick for me.
Okay.
Sure.
I agree with everything all you guys have said. If I was assessing this, which I actually did assess this was the Div 4 Grand Final last year. Whatever you do, I would mark it correct. And I'll tell you why. If you see that absolutely clearly, like we can see on the video, that clearly the Westminster player didn't do much. He ran and stood alongside him and the Kilburn guy really flopped and went to ground looking for a free kick. And so if you see it that way and you're 100% certain of it, you would just say, all right, get up, we're going to get moving. No illegal contact there. We will just ball this up. However, as I think it was a Paul that said, he wasn't sure how Marek actually saw that. Clearly on the corner of his eye, he's seen there's been some sort of contact and the guy's gone to ground. So in the context, and what Paul also talked about was the context of the game. So if there's been trouble brewing and you're trying to take control of a game, then, and you are not sure whether to pay something or not, just pay it. In this case, it's so second quarter of a grand final where these two sides had history last year of hating each other. There was quite a bit of concern from the league going into this game that anything could happen in this game. Marek's a good, strong umpire, was put into that game for a good reason. And the umpires were warned just to keep a lid on things. And so I didn't have a problem with him at all in this instance in paying a free kick, because at the end of the day, we could show you two examples like this. One where the guy does go to ground too easily and looks for a free kick, and one where a guy comes in and knocks him to the ground, and they are could be very similar looking incidents. So I'm not going to stand here and say, don't pay a free kick in this instance, because you could get one very similar this weekend and stuff it up and not pay. So what I'm saying is, if you are 100% certain that the guy has done very little wrong and falls and the other player falls to ground looking for a free kick, absolutely say, up you get, we're getting on with this. But if you say that to everyone you're unsure about, you're going to miss some pretty bad free kicks. So if we err on the side of paying a control free kick, I have no problem at all. Does that all make sense? Does anyone want to make anything add to that?
Yeah, I'll just throw my 2 cents in, Cole. Just to, like, for argument's sake, on the flip side of that as well, obviously just determining when the ball's left the hand from Marek, like I said, where he's actually seen the contact and the player go to ground, you could even say, regardless of how minimal the contact was, that he is stopping that player from contesting for a block free kick. So I guess flip side, looking at it the other way, you could probably still pay it and you probably wouldn't lose sleep over it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good point. Because at the end of the day, in a ruck contest, everyone needs to be seen to be going for the ball. So if someone's being blocked from contesting the ball, absolutely, it's a free kick. But I think what the other guys are saying, Frank, is that the overriding factor in this is that the Kilburn player has fallen to the ground and is looking for a free kick. But what I'm saying is we would have to be 100% certain that he is doing that for us not to pay a free kick. I don't want us thinking, I'm not going to pay a free kick because he may have flopped to the ground. If our thinking is that, we're going to lose control of some games. So different to AFL. Think of I talked about this in the preseason to the Div 1 clubs and also to you guys, is at AFL, they're coached to only pay what they see. And because they've got 4 umpires, in this case, you would not pay it and you'd wait for one of your other teammates to come in and pay it. We don't have 4 umpires. We're not coached that way. We're on the other side of keeping control of a game. So if we get this one wrong because we're paid a free kick for someone that's flopped, who cares? We're out there to control a game of footy, and it's better we make a stand when we're 50-50 not sure rather than I'm only going to pay what 100% sees. If that makes sense, I think it's a really good example of umpiring at local footy, the differences between umpiring local footy as opposed to umpiring at AFL. All right. I knew that one would be of interest. Okay. Mark Goods, I hope you enjoyed that discussion because we've had
I did, Colin, but I'll make the point that if that was late in the last quarter, scores tied, and you pay a free kick for that, and the player kicks the winning score, that's a bitter pill to swallow, I would have thought, but it's only my opinion.
I understand what you're saying. Everything's a bit of the context of the game. And look, you can say, if it happens behind you, you can say to the players, I didn't see it. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. And you can say, I'm sorry I missed the free kick. And the players will generally accept that. Where they don't accept it is if you try and justify your decision whether you paid something or not, and you may have got it wrong, and you're standing up and saying, this is the way I saw, this is what it is. So yeah, if there is a bit of a context to the game with this one. So I hear what you're saying. I just don't want us going out there every time in all scenarios thinking I'm only going to pay what I 100% see, and I'm going to err on the side of not paying something if I think someone's flopping. I think we're better in most cases to pay for a kick to keep control. But again, if you're 100% certain in this example that he's fallen to ground like that, and like we get the video of, then if you're 100% certain, you can tell the players, I'm not paying a free kick for that. All right. I'd like to ask someone that I haven't asked before. And oops. Okay. No, let's go. Brendan Smales, you're always a good one to ask.
Rightio.
What's that background you got?
That was from the Pacific Cup last year that I umpired.
Right. What's
Papua
the
New
Pacific
Guinea
Cup?
versus, sorry?
What's that competition?
That was the Pacific Nations up at Maroochydore.
Oh, you did tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the very first throw up of the first game. Papua New Guinea versus Fiji.
Yeah, nice. So,
I'll get the hell out of the way.
yeah, right, cool. Are you umpiring that game?
Yes,
Yeah, very good. All right. Have you had a chance to look at this video?
I have.
Excellent. And welcome back too, after a layoff with injury.
Thank you.
I'll ease you back into a somewhat easier game to run out this week.
Cool.
All right. Number 3 decision to look at.
Time, he's spotted pressure. Similar to the first quarter, but he had his head taken off. One.
All right. What's your thoughts?
Well, when I watch this one, obviously it's a free kick for high, and I was wondering whether I would have gone red card or yellow card straight away because the big fella didn't seem to have any play on the football at all, and didn't seem to have his eyes on the football, rather on the player that he's collected. So, in hindsight, I thought I'd yellow card him straight away and reserved the right to review that later on in discussion with you on whether it deserved a red or not.
Okay, so just a reminder that the only time we look to we give umpires the ability to upgrade is dangerous tackles, because they can be hard to judge, and we want to try and get all the reportable reds on that one.
And understanding that, then I would have been giving that guy a red card.
Okay, and if we move it on just slightly, if you see the very end of this example, you've got Jason Mounts come in. Oh, you don't quite get it. He issues a red card. So it was in the C1 grand final last year. The guy ended up getting 2 or 3 games for it. So okay. I guess the reason he gave a red and the reason you said it was a red, because the player pretty much makes no attempt to contest the football himself, chooses to bump, and makes a significant contact with the head of the Sacred Heart player.
Yeah, so the Sacred Heart guy had no chance to protect himself because he had his head already over the football when the other guy came in.
Yeah, very clumsy attempt to come into the contest. So, yep, I think you've summed up exactly how Jason summed up on the day, and it's an absolute free kick that I don't think anyone would dispute. I guess the thing to work out here is if it's a yellow or red card, and I guess if there's a significant contact to the head and there's no effort to contest the ball, then a red's the right outcome.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Oh, Colin, quickly with that one.
Yeah.
Would that be the rest of the game for that one? Would you?
So we have with a red card, the rules are obviously the team must play a player short for 10 minutes, and it's your choice whether it's between 10 minutes and the rest of the game. There are going to be circumstances where you would vary from this, but my mind is if someone's done something serious enough for a red card, it should be a rest of the game. But there are different examples where that's not always the case. And if you choose to give less than the rest of the game, you're not against the rules. The league's rules are that it's at the umpire's discretion. And so we had an example on the weekend where a observer, Jack Staker, was at a game and he saw something behind the play and he told the umpires about it. And he wanted to give a red card, and it's been dealt with today. But the umpires, because the player, they hadn't seen what went on, and they were a little bit unsure about it all. They chose to send the player off for 10 minutes, and he was able to return. And none of us in the office here had any problem with what they did. And they made sure that the offending team did play a player short for 10 minutes as well. So yeah, totally your call. Personally, I'm only giving a red card for something that I see is something pretty serious. And if it's something pretty serious, rest of the game. That makes it easy for most of you. But if you feel strongly that it should be less than that for different circumstances, you're not against the rules for doing so. We always make the offending team play a player short for 10 minutes. So make sure you get the that in your head correctly. Okay, so anything else to discuss from any of those, or anything else you want to raise before we move on to the rest of the video? Okay, so marking contest. Probably the second hardest area to adjudicate outside of holding the ball. Holding the ball is obviously a very complicated rule. The reason why marking contests are, controversial or sometimes an area which is difficult is because essentially you're allowed to contest the ball. If all players are contesting the ball legitimately, there is sometimes going to be incidental contact. It's only when a player who has some of these examples coming up where they put the other player out of the contest and their intention is to do that before going for the ball, where there's a free kick. So what's holding your ground, going for the ball and play on, and what's putting the other player out of the contest illegally first and then going for the ball and free kick. So first thing we're going to talk about or have a look at is your positioning. So really important, as with all decisions, is that we position ourselves properly to be able to adjudicate correctly. So with a marking contest, you want to be aiming to be 20, 25 metres side on or slightly in front of side on. So you're slightly in front of the contest. And let's have a look at what these guys do in this instance. So best position to judge, 20, 25 metres away, slightly in front of the contest. In this case here, we'll just pause it. So Pat, other than the fact he's got his shirt out there, is perfect. Is umpiring this perfectly. He's backing away because he feels like he's a little bit too close. But you can see that he is slightly in front of the contest, side on, and can adjudicate the mark perfectly. So if you're not in that 20, 25 metres away, slightly in front of the contest, you need to move quickly. In this case here, Andrew Crosby in the middle, again, in a really good spot. If you had a look at that first frame before the camera changed, you see exactly where he is exactly where you want to be. And this one here, Johnny Vass, slightly in front of the contest. I had to put that on just for his signalling. It was magnificent. But slightly in front of the contest, side on. All those three examples, the umpires have done very well to position themselves. The next thing we're going to have a look at is where there's no free kick paid and a mark is given. So this is where the player holds their ground and they're going for the ball the whole time. So in this instance here in the goal square, just holds his ground. He doesn't push the player out, but it's a very good body work. I did have a discussion with a Div 7 club president today about the marking contest in the goal square. So when the ball's going through for a goal and there's players in there, exactly the same rules apply. So sometimes, players can tend to get away with a bit, or when the ball's going through near the goal line, but there really is no difference in adjudicating all this when it's right on the goals. In this one here, again, the player does nothing illegal for a free kick and just big, strong body. The player falls over, but not through anything other than a smaller body, and they're all going for the ball. No warranted free kick here. This one's really interesting. So I'd encourage you, because it's the vision of the Div 6 Grand Final, it wasn't the best. But if you actually go have a look at this in normal motion on the video, first instinct is that this will be a free kick. It looks like the players put out the contest. You actually slow-mo it. Both players are going for the ball, and the Eastern Park player does absolutely nothing wrong, and it's the Salford player that just goes to ground. So a really good decision there to not pay a free kick. It was Luke or Adam there, but they're obviously in a good position to judge. So here's some examples of free kicks we would pay for marking contest. No eyes for the ball isn't a reason to pay a free kick. It gets you on high alert for a free kick that could be paid, so it's a trigger. But where you've got no eyes for the ball and you make contact front on, and clearly interrupt the other player's attempt at marking the ball, that's where you get the free kick paid. So eyes for the ball is a trigger. It's not a reason to give a free kick, but where they don't have eyes for the ball and they just run into them, like in this case here, that's an obvious and blatant one there. So you in judging a marking contest, have a look at where the player's eyes are. In this case here, the player goes past the ball. He's not really contesting the ball. He stops the Adelaide Uni player from being able to contest it. And a good marking contest free kick. And in this one here, so initially the player coming back is probably contesting the ball, but he realizes at the end that there's a player there and he takes his eyes off the ball and makes contact front on. So good free kick. So one thing to keep in mind when you're judging these marking contests is, are there two actions? And if there's the first action is to put the player out of the contest, and the second action is to go for the mark, that's where free kick's paid. In a marking contest, spirit of the law is you need to be going for the ball. And if you're not going for the ball and you stop the other player from being able to mark it, that's where you get some of these free kicks we're about to see. So in here is a little push out there. Good, really good pickup from Cam. Again, positioning is the key. Exactly the right spot to be able to see that. So it's really reading their intent. And in that one there, there's just the shove out. They like to pretend that they're going for the ball the whole time, but if there's a push, a bump, any sort of movement to put the player out first before they go for the ball, that's where free kick's paid. And in this case here, a little push out pushes the player forward, means that the player isn't able to contest the ball. So if you're late to the contest, this again is a trigger. So if you're late to the contest, be ready for marking interference. Doesn't mean if you're late to the contest, a free kick will always be paid. But if you're late to the contest and then you make contact causing the ball to spill, that's where the free kick is paid. But in that case there, he's not going for the mark. He just wants to put pressure on the player in front. And here is clearly late. Grabs hold of his arm and causes the ball to spill. And in this one here, again, late to the contest, realizes he's not going to be able to mark it, so he's just trying to do everything he can to spoil it. And I guess the last example I'm going to show you here is, while we've seen lots of examples in this coaching video of free kicks that need to be paid, you need to wait to see that there is contact and that the player is put out of the marking contest before you blow your whistle. So while the triggers are, the player might not have their eyes on the ball or they're late to the contest, there still needs to be that free kick before you actually blow your whistle, because it's very easy sometimes to think you're going to have a free kick. And in this example here, it looks like there could be one, but it's well umpired because they hold their whistle. And in the end, it's actually quite a good spoil, a legal spoil. So the player running back on the flight of the ball puts their hand up in the air, makes no contact with the player, and in the end gets the free kick themselves. But the actual marking contest is well judged because it would have been very easy to think, here comes a free kick, and in the end the player doesn't do anything wrong. So just the final message, be aware of the player's intention and protect the player whose sole objective is to contest the mark. All right, that's the coaching session. Any questions, comments about that? All right, I actually saw something on social media today. Is that the anything is content Instagram page. I think it might be Matty Knight from Athelston that has something to do with that page. He put a example from the Teacher Gully Athelston game on the weekend. I reckon it was Alex Haugie that was umpiring it too. Paid a free kick. It is literally a 50-50 decision. It's actually a really good example of why marking contests can be so hard to judge. I think I might share it to the Facebook page so you can all check it out if you haven't actually seen it. But it was just a coincidence that I saw that today leading up to this coaching session. But Michael, I saw you shaking, nodding your head there. What do you think? Do you think it's a free kick or mark?
Oh, yeah. At first instance, I thought it might have been 2 actions, but it would have been tough to not call that a mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can get that one wrong. I reckon they give it either way.
I reckon either way, you're not going to really.
Because there are some hands from the back, and the guy certainly in front doesn't mark it. You could also argue that they're both going for the ball the whole time. But just really interesting one. Yeah. And I didn't have a problem with the free kick being paid by Alex. It was all good. All right. Hope you all got a bit out of that one. Any questions or anything anyone wants to raise before we go? Next week on the Zoom, I won't have a coaching video. I thought I'd do something. Matt, you just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just got a question. Maybe yourself or the other umpires can help me with this. Lately, I've been asking the players to move it along when they're taking time to kick it. But I find that when I ask them that, the player on the mark moves off their mark, which I do give a bit of leniency because I feel like I've sort of created that. Is there something that I can instruct them very quickly?
Yeah.
Because how do you go about that?
Okay, good question. And for those that, because you're in your first year, I may not have mentioned this one to you. So what you're doing is pretty much following what AFL umpires do. And when they are ready to get the play moving, they say, move it on.
Yeah.
And then they go on to play on. I don't like that instruction. To me, move it on is so similar to play on.
Correct.
If you say that, the players will run forward. The last thing you want to do is pay 25 when you've said move it on and they think you can't play on. It's very simple fix. And I don't know why the AFL umpires don't do this. So instead of move it on, say move it now. Move it now sounds totally different to play on.
Yeah.
The instruction is move it now. You give them a moment to do it. And if they don't do it, then you say play on.
And then if that player moves off his mark, do you give him leniency with that or not?
So when you say moves off the mark,
so the
forward.
player standing the mark, he takes a step or so before he's actually played on.
So when you say we don't have the standard rule, obviously. So when you say move off the mark, they can move sideways. But if
he's moved forward,
running over. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you say move it now, and they run forward, when you say that, pay 25.
Okay.
Like clearly early. You would say move it. So where I used to really feel for the players is where I saw an umpire say move it on, and they think you've said play on, so they run.
That's
forward.
right. Yeah. So I haven't paid 25 because I feel like it's kind of my.
It's a ridiculous thing that the AFL umpires do. I don't know why they do it, but for you guys, change your language by one word, and it will make all the difference.
Okay, no worries.
All right, good question. Okay, so next week Zoom, some of you will be really interested in this. Some of you probably won't care less, but I'm actually going to take you through the entire process of what I do every week to put together the appointments. It's actually a huge process, and I guess I don't always get it right, obviously, but you'll hopefully come up with an understanding of my thinking behind what I do to put the appointments together. So yeah, we won't have a coaching video next week. I'll give you an insight into what I'm doing week after week, and I hope you find that of interest. All right, good on you guys. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday night.